Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. If you use this HEROES promo code for a discount between October 28th, 2022 through November 18th, 2022, you will automatically be entered into a sweepstakes where you could win a Brothers War set booster box. There is also another way to enter where no purchase is necessary. See the link in the description below for full details. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. Well, it is Brothers War Prerelease Weekend. The market is still slow, but there are a lot of cards moving up between $1 or $2, which might be an indication that things could be picking up soon. In today's video, though, our threshold again is going to be $2. We're not going to talk about a card unless it's moving at least $2 up or down. And even though this week's video will probably be a shorter one again, there are still some interesting cards to discuss. Quickly before we get into it, though, just a couple things. First off, I want to give a big thank you to everybody who gave a super thanks in last week's video. Their names are on the screen. Thank you so much for your support. Like I mentioned in the previous week, I'm going to take this extra money from the super thanks and diversify the content a little bit. I did order a Brothers War set booster box to open on the channel. I'd also like to start playing Arena again. It's been a while since I played. I'm probably going to be pretty bad at first, but maybe doing some Arena videos could be fun. Definitely, as we go into 2023, I want to try some different stuff. So thank you for your support. Even if you don't give a super thanks, just watching the videos, giving a like, giving a comment, it all helps so much. And as always, if you go over to FlipsideGaming.com, you can use the HEROES promo code to save 10% on orders over $10. Currently, you can pre-order the Brothers War products there. They also have a whole lot of other things on their website. And remember, we do have the sweepstakes going on with them now. All the details are in a link in the description below. But you have a chance to win a Brothers War set booster box with that sweepstakes. And remember, if your order is over $100 or consists only of singles, shipping will be free in the United States. Also, whenever you use the HEROES promo code, it does support the channel, which is always appreciated. So thank you. And without any further ado, let's get into it. We'll begin, as we always do, with the standard legal spotlight. Just one card to talk about today. In fact, it's the same card from last week, oddly enough. But overall, not a lot's happening right now in the world of Standard because everybody wants to wait and see what's going to happen with the Brothers War. But today's card is Liliana of the Veil from Innistrad. It goes down $4.21 this week to $59. So this was reprinted in Dominaria United. That did make it Standard and Pioneer legal, but it also added a lot of new copies to the marketplace. Like I said, Standard is about to change with the release of the Brothers War, but I'm sure this card's going to see play in the new Standard. Currently, you see this in Grixis midrange, Rakdos midrange, and more. Pioneer, you see this in Rakdos midrange, Mono Black midrange, sometimes Abzan, Greasefang, and more there. And it's always been a solid modern card. You see it in Jund, in 8-Rack, in that format. Plus, it's getting additional commander play now, too, and some new builds like Shieldred the Apocalypse, the Raven Man. I've seen some add this to the Dominaria United Legends Legacy commander deck, or put it in fresh builds around a card from there, Shannon Sleeper's Scourge. And that quickly takes us to the Pioneer Legal Spotlight. We have some cards going down, one going up this week. First one moving down is Blood Crypt from Dissension. The original copy goes down $2.19 to $35.99. So this was part of the list for Innistrad Crimson Vow and then Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. It left after that, but returned for Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate, and it was still there for Dominaria United. However, it's not going to be there for the Brothers War. That's not the real reason this is losing value this week, though. Remember, Shocklands were recently reprinted as a special pull in Unfinity. So they're not the easiest pulls to get, granted we've talked about that in the past, but more copies are still getting out there regardless. Being a Shockland, it does see a lot of play in many decks from multiple formats, Pioneer, Modern, and of course you see this as part of the mana base in many commander builds old and new. Emrakul, the Promised End, is down $3.45 this week to $59.97. This was jumping aggressively not too long ago, but now it continues to retract and find its price point based on the play it sees currently. In Modern, this is in Mono Green Tron, Eldrazi Tron, sometimes Amulet Titan. It does get some commander play too, usually in Kozilek the Great Distortion, but it's in a number of other builds as well. Mox Amber is next down $6.50 to $51.20. This is being reprinted as a retro frame artifact in the Brothers War, which is why it's so soft right now. It does see a fair amount of modern play and grinding station builds, although you are seeing less of those in the current meta. This is in a variety of commander builds too, including some new ones like Joda the Unifier. Plus, it is a good upgrade for Legends Legacy, and I've seen it in new builds around the front-facing commander from there too, the Hada Binder of Wills. Last card moving down in this section today is everybody's favorite card, Renata Called to the Hunt. This is the copy from the list, only there for Strixhaven. Technically going down in theory 874 to 1236, but like we've been saying over the last few weeks, this card has been very overpriced due to high asking prices and very few copies available online. In reality, nobody's paying this for the card. Even though it's going down, they're still not paying 1236. You can get the original for just a few cents, really. And it does show up in a variety of commander builds, so you might want a copy. And the last card in this section is Sky Sovereign Console Flagship. This is the copy from Kjell. It goes up 209 this week to 725. There is a copy from the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Buckle Up Commander deck, and that one is moving up a little bit this week too. It didn't quite make the $2 threshold though. One of the reasons the card is hot is because it has been getting a good amount of Pioneer play. It's in Nykthos Ramp, which is an extremely popular build there. It's in Abzan Greasefang, which is another popular deck, and it may become even better when the Brothers War drops officially and that Diabolic Intent reprint becomes Pioneer legal. Plus, you do see this in other decks in the format. In Modern, it's in Eldrazi Tron, and in Commander, you see this in a number of builds, including some newer ones. It is in decks around Captain Rex Nebula, which is one of the Eternal Legal cards from Infinity. You see this sometimes in Astor Bearer of Blades decks as well. And now I'm starting to see people pick this up as an upgrade to one of the Brothers War Commander decks, Mishra's Burnished Banner. In fact, this was mentioned on the Command Zone podcast last week as a good upgrade to that deck. And it is showing up in early fresh deck lists around the front-facing commander from there, Mishra Eminent One. Time for the Modern Legal Spotlight. Again, we have some cards going down, this time 2 moving up. Bladesteel Colossus from Double Masters down 295 this week to 6626. Maybe this does not see the same amount of play that it used to, but it's still in a variety of different commander decks. And I have seen some using this to upgrade one of the Warhammer 40k commander decks, Necron Dynasties. Plus it's in fresh builds around a card from there, and Rakire the Traveler. Ren and 6, the copy from Modern Horizons, goes down 301 this week to 6129. This was part of the list for Zendikar Rising and Keldheim, but the reason the card's been so soft recently is because it was reprinted in Double Masters 2022. In Modern, this is an Indomitable Creativity builds. It's an Omnithocus of Creation decks too. Now, those are not as dominant in the field since Yori and Sky Nomad has been banned, but a new variation of them is seeing a fair amount of play out there. And you see this in other decks in that format as well. In Vintage, this is an Oath of Druids. It is also another card seeing more commander play now around some new legendary creatures. Soul of Windgrace, the Lady of Otaria, which is one of the Dominaria United Eternal Legal cards. It is also a good upgrade to the Dominaria United Painbow commander deck. Plus it's in fresh builds around the front-facing commander from there, Jared Carthalion. Gemstone Caverns, this is the one from the list. It was there for Adventures in the Forgotten Realms through Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. This goes down $320 this week to $45, and it is retracting after some recent increases. In Modern, you see this in Hardened Scales, Dredge, sometimes Crashing Footfalls, and more. This is also getting a good amount of commander play in a variety of builds. It's another good upgrade to Necron Dynasties, plus it's in fresh builds around Anrakire the Traveler. Ulamog the Infinite Gyre from Modern Masters 2015. This goes down $371 this week to $35.36. This was also reprinted in Double Masters 2022. It is in a variety of commander decks, and I have seen this in a new build at times around the Peregrine Dynamo from Legends Legacy. Prince of Thralls. This is down $438 this week to $18.44, retracting after some pretty aggressive spikes that we saw over the last few weeks. Now, the reason this did get hot is because there was a demon sub-theme found in one of the Warhammer 40k commander decks, the Ruinous Powers. That did push some demons, and many wanted to get this to upgrade that deck, or put it in fresh builds around a card from there, Be'lakor the Dark Master. Now what we're seeing, though, is many more copies have entered the marketplace on the heels of the recent spikes, which is leading to the price evening out. First card moving up, at least theoretically in this section, is Denizen of the Deep. This is the copy from Portal Second Age. It goes up $223 to $17.17. But we've talked about this before. This copy has been very turbulent. The price has been inflated due to scarcity online. Nobody's paying $17.17 for this card. It doesn't really even get much play to speak of, and you can get other copies of this for just a few cents. Last card moving up in this section is Flusterstorm, the copy from Iconic Masters. It goes up $5.28 this week to $35.72. This is a great sideboard card to deal with storm-style strategies, and those have been popular recently. It is found in many modern sideboards. You see this in some legacy sideboards. In Vintage, it even shows up in main decks. Plus, it's in a number of commander builds. For example, I have seen some use this to upgrade the Warhammer 40k deck Tyranid Swarm, and it can show up in fresh builds around a card from there, Geierson Star and Kellermorph. That takes us to the Vintage Spotlight. This is where we talk about cards that see play in Legacy, Vintage, or cards that are just popular among collectors this week. Now, prices in this section may be more reminiscent of what you might see on a price tracking website at times, since at least in some cases the cards we talk about don't get a lot of sales in any given week, and they might not have a lot of high-grade copies for sale currently either, which means we might have to lean a little bit harder on asking price in those examples. Also, when it comes to the older, more iconic Magic cards, the price you see on the screen might fall somewhere in between the price of a high-grade raw and high-grade graded copy. But if the price you see isn't at least close to the middle between those two types of cards, or just in general if the price is off compared to recent sales I've been seeing, I will point that out. Here we go. Taiga from Revised up $391 this week to $385.87. Okay, so the alpha, beta, and unlimited copies of this card are pretty steady. Obviously, these original dual lands are expensive cards. They see a ton of play in Legacy, Vintage, and Commander. And the real story here, of course, is when the Magic 30th Anniversary Edition was announced, many felt that these revised dual lands may take a financial hit, since they are the most abundant of the printings. Remember, in Magic 30th Anniversary Edition, the dual lands are technically in the rare spot, but they did double the frequency that they could appear. Even though the product is not technically legal to play, most players that want these duels just want them for Commander, and many playgroups are welcoming the printings from this product. Initially, the revised duels did lose value, but once people saw the drop starting, at least in some cases, they decided to buy into the dip. And this week we're seeing two of them rebound a little bit. Now, I did see many articles and posts saying that they were dropping 50%, but in reality, the drop was about 10 to 15%. Now, buy list prices were down about 50%, which is very different from actual card prices. Alpha Investments discussed this in a video earlier in the week, and it appears that some viewers misunderstood the difference between the buy list drops and the price drops. In the end, though, it's going to be very interesting to see where these prices land. Will they just go back to where they were once everybody moves their attention to something else? Or will they stabilize at a lower price than before? Reach out and touch faith. This is your own personal tutor. Up $9.55 this week to $94.34. Older cards yet to be reprinted. It's in Legacy Doomsday. This is also in some different Commander builds. I really hope all my Depeche Mode jokes aren't what's spiking this card. We did see it in the last couple videos as well. It was moving up a couple dollars and like $3. This is quite a jump. So there's additional interest in this card. Maybe we were seeing the beginnings of a buyout last week. Now we're seeing more shockwaves from that buyout. On the other hand, maybe more people are just learning about this card and it's drying up naturally. Sunglasses of Urza from Unlimited up $12 to $90.98. In fact, there are a lot of cards from Unlimited in this list today. Here's another one, Jade Monolith. It goes up $13.30 to $31.48. Personal Incarnation from Unlimited up $13.99 to $46.73. Psionic Blast from Unlimited up $15.07 to $81.54. Earthquake, you guessed it, from Unlimited up $24.29 to $110.67. Volcanic Island from Revised. This is that other revised dual land that I mentioned earlier. This is up $27.37 to $759.99. The unlimited copy of this also moving up a little this week. Lich from Unlimited up $32.91 to $289.99. Now the rest of the white border cards in this section are from Unlimited, so I won't keep saying that. When you see a white border card, just know it's from that set. Guardian Beast up $81.73 to $817.36. Vesuvan Doppelganger up $84.18 to $449.99. Mahamadi Jin in theory up $143.23 to $389.99. Is that for real? Well, no, this price is inflated due to some high asking prices out there. High grade Raws can break about $150, and I did see a graded 9 recently sell for just a little more than that. Tundra up $167.51 to $1,299.99. Is that for real? Well, I have seen high-grade raw sell for almost $1,200. I haven't seen any high-grade graded copy sell for a while, but when one does, it could go for much more than this. Similar story here with Force Field. It goes up $224.13 to $750.95. I have seen high-grade raw sell for about $715. When a high-grade graded one does sell, it could pass this by a good margin. Chaos Orb up 517 and a cent to $1,999. Well, high-grade raws can get to about $13.80. I haven't seen a high-grade graded copy of this sell for a while either, but this price is not out of the question when one does. Mox Sapphire up $755 to $7,794.99. Is that for real? Well, Power 9 prices are really just whatever somebody's willing to pay at that moment. There's just typically not a lot of them for sale, especially in high grade, so that does make it hard to pin down prices. Basically, when you look at Power 9 increases and decreases every week, usually they're tied into the type of cards that are out there for sale at that time. What kind of grades are the cards? Are they graded, ungraded, that type of thing. Now, recently, I did see a graded 8 of this card sold at auction for almost $5,900. So that at least gives you an idea. Library of Alexandria. This goes up in theory $2,500.02 to $6,999.99. Is that for real? No, this increase is due to higher asking prices. I did see a graded 9 sell recently for about $2,600. High grade raws can get to about $2,260. Last card in this section, perhaps you've heard of it, Black Lotus. It goes up $4,550 to $24,250. Well, like I said before, it's a Power 9 card. This one out of all of them is the hardest to pin down an actual price. I would guess, though, that the copy would have to be extremely high grade to fetch the price you see on the screen. And that brings us to the Commander Spotlight. So all the cards in this section are moving, at least in part because of Commander, but there could be other factors too. In fact, in some cases, Commander is not always even the key driver, but I will let you know as we go through. Piracy from Portal's Second Age. This goes up $2.30 this week to $37.99. This copy of the card a little dry in the secondary market online right now. It does see a tad bit of Commander play, though. Jeweled Lotus up $2.36 this week to $109.14. This is rebounding slightly after some recent decreases. It is a big Commander card in many decks, including some new ones, like Xiaofan the Apocalypse. It's also getting used to upgrade one of the Warhammer 40k decks quite frequently, the Ruinous Powers, and I've seen this in new builds around Be'lakor the Dark Master too. Charisma up $2.51 to $15.24. This is an older card yet to be reprinted, and it is getting some more Commander play. I have seen some picking this up to upgrade Tyranid Swarm, and it's in fresh builds around Geyerson's Darn Kellermorph. Last card today is Deadly Rollick up $2.71 this week to $43.95. This is a very popular Commander card, and you are seeing more decks running black at the tables now, since the color has been given a number of great new cards for the format recently. You see this in a number of new Commander builds around some of these cards. Xiaofan the Apocalypse, Braids Arisen Nightmare. It's also a good upgrade to a couple of the Warhammer 40k builds, the Ruinous Powers and Necron Dynasties. It's showing up in fresh builds around cards from those decks too. Be'lakor the Dark Master from the Ruinous Powers, Imhotep the Stormlord from Necron Dynasties. Basically though, if you are playing black in Commander, you probably want this card. Also, Jake and Joel or Magic mentioned this in a YouTube short this week, but they did say that the cycle that this comes from is due for a reprint, and if that happens, prices may go down. Now, before I go, just one other thing. No premium Spotlight this week again, just not seeing a lot of stuff moving, at least in a substantial way that feels permanent. There's always premium card spiking and dipping, you know that. But I like to choose cards that feel like they're moving with a purpose, and I just didn't really see anything this week. So, with that being said, that's going to do it for this episode of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. Until next time, stay safe out there. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.